at what, like, at what size of company, right? Because like pretty much every tech-enabled company is somehow using the cloud, whether they, know it or not. If they're using, so, web-based tools and stuff like that. At what point does a company that's deploying some, compute into the cloud need to have kind of like a well-established policy or security or even just operations around how the cloud is managed?
The day they push stuff into the cloud.
You think so?
And I really
Yeah.
do. I don't think, yeah, because if you're not prepared to secure your systems, it is a shared responsibility model with clouds. So the thing is, if you're trying to get into the security game in cloud computing and do so in a halfway way, you're going to get burnt because you're going to expose systems. You're going to have buckets that aren't
Exactly.
that aren't secured, and then you're going to be a short-lived business. So you're going to go from a small business to no business. And by the way, this doesn't mean spending a lot of money. This just means teaching yourself in terms of security policies and practices, how you do it, leveraging the technologies in the cloud. The great thing about the cloud is you can spend $100 a month being a small business and have a very secure system and, leverage secure identity access management and encryption and all the things that we need. Or you can spend $10,000 a month or $100,000 a month if you're a large business. It really goes to the scale of your business. So there is no excuse. We're not saying you got to go get a data center like we had 10 years ago and buy different hardware and software and spend millions of dollars. And when I was CEO, that was the buy-in. We had to spend at least $2 million to get the data center space, the service,
Yeah.
the servers, the security systems, things like that. Now it's all rental, it's all pay per use. And by the way, it's better than anything we ever had on premise. So there's no
Yeah.
excuse to be a good security person.
I agree with you. I think a little bit of intention goes a long way. Just having that mindset. But that
Yeah.
kind of leads me to what I wanted. One of the things I wanted to ask you about is I read your article in InfoWorld. Don't migrate your problems to the cloud. I thought it was an amazing title, by the way, because like I instantly understood. Yep, exactly. So I thought that was fantastic. I think you made some great points. Obviously, at some point you have to fix the problems as they grow, and the debt that goes behind those things, and migrating to the cloud could make things worse if you have problems that aren't dealt with. So I'm curious, you mentioned a little bit about security. How does security relate to some of the stuff that goes into problems that have to be fixed before you migrate to the cloud?
Yeah, we just went to the fact that people aren't, creating systems that are secure into themselves. They have design patterns they're leveraging that aren't secure, and these things need to be fixed in terms of remediating the application so they have a more secure state. Before we're able to move into the cloud. And so, if we're going to leverage identity access management, for example, in the cloud, and we don't do so with the existing on-premise systems,
Right.
then we need to figure out how to transform the system as it goes from point A to point B and improve it in the cloud. The thing is, if we migrate an unprotected, poorly designed system that has systemic security issues to the cloud, guess what? It has the same problems in the cloud. Nothing's going to be fixed. So you have to figure out how all these things hook and play well together, and in moving stuff forward. So it just comes as the best practice. Or by the way, don't move it.
Yeah.
Remediate it where it is in place. Run it for a while. Say give it a year of traction, and then eventually make the leap to the cloud as the platform analogs start to exist and the path of least resistance starts popping up. But the notion that we're going to take these poorly designed systems and move into the cloud and they're somehow going to be better and more secure is just a fantasy.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, in fact, it may be less secure in the cloud than it was on premise, with some
Yeah,
of
probably.
the